Some stories, they're not just about what happened. They're about that one moment where everything we think is permanent just shatters. We're going to follow a journey from the absolute certainty of an ending to a beginning that would literally change the world. It's a story about despair being completely transformed into victory. So, where does our story begin? With a cold, hard fact, a heavy stone, a final barrier put between the living and the dead. The tomb was sealed. And look, this wasn't some temporary thing. This was a statement, a declaration of absolute permanence, final, unbreachable. And just to make absolutely sure nobody had any doubts, it was secured. This wasn't just a closed door, it was basically a guarded fortress. This was human power backing up the finality of that stone, making sure that what was done stayed done, period. And that physical reality, well, it brought an emotional one right along with it. Because when that heavy stone rolled into place and the guards took their post, it wasn't just a body that was laid to rest. It feels like hope itself was buried in there too. Okay, so to really get the shock of what's about to happen, we have to start right here, in this moment of just profound, world-ending loss. We're going to see this whole thing through the eyes of Mary Magdalene, because for her, the story was already over. You can just feel the grief, can't you? This isn't someone rushing to the tomb. It's a slow, agonizing walk. Her heart is heavy, her eyes are swollen. This is a picture of someone who is just completely lost in their sorrow, just going through the motions of a life that's lost all its light. And this is a really crucial point. Her expectations were completely grounded in the grim reality of death. She's not showing up looking for some kind of miracle or a sign. She was just coming to do the last rites, to be with the body she could mourn. That's all she thought was left. But then, in just a single moment, everything that this story was built on, grief, finality, it all just shatters. The mood flips from that heavy sorrow to this pure, heart-stopping confusion. Nothing could have prepared her for what she was about to see. So imagine her, right? She gets there, bracing herself to see that sealed tomb again. But the seal is broken. The guards aren't there, and the single most impossible thing has happened. You can almost feel her breath catch in her throat. The stone was gone. Her mind must have just been racing a million miles an hour. Fear, confusion, maybe even a wild, illogical flicker of something she didn't dare name. She just had to see, so she ran, she looked into the darkness, and the big question just hangs there, right? What does she find? Just one word: empty. And that one word changes everything. All that logic, the guards, the finality of it all, it just evaporates in the face of that silent, impossible space. So your logical brain immediately starts scrambling for an answer, right? Maybe grave robbers, but the scene just didn't add up. There was this weird sense of order inside. The linen cloths were carefully placed, but this wasn't the mess you'd expect from a theft. Okay, so it wasn't a robbery. Was it vandalism? No. There were no signs of a break-in, no violence. So with every single logical explanation just falling apart, she's left staring into a mystery that completely defies reason. And this is where we hit the climax of the whole story. It's that moment where human logic just has to step aside for a revelation that's going to reshape the very definition of life and death. So picture it. She's weeping, totally confused, and then a voice just cuts right through the silence. And the question it asks doesn't just give her an answer, it completely reframes her entire reality. And it's a question that kind of holds the impossible answer inside of it. So she turns, and there he is. The answer she gets isn't some explanation or a theory. It's a person standing right there in front of her, alive. And you have to understand, this wasn't some trick of a grieving mind, some ghost that her sadness and exhaustion had cooked up. No, he actually spoke to her. He called her by name. And it wasn't a dream either. Not some fleeting image. This was real. Like tangible, physical, absolutely breathtakingly real. An impossibility made flesh. And this is it. This is the central, earth-shattering truth of the entire story, and it's stated with a triumphant finality that just echoes through time. Alive.
Okay, so what does all this mean? What does this incredible personal moment actually signify? Now we're going to zoom out a little bit and see how this one moment goes from a private miracle for one woman to a universal declaration for all of humanity.
So here's the real takeaway. First off, death, the ultimate enemy, the final end, it had been defeated. Second, the grave, the very symbol of death's power, had lost its hold. And this creates this amazing paradox. So that moment that looked like the absolute final end was actually just the beginning. And this really shows you the whole transformation, right? On one side, you've got the world as everyone knew it, a reality defined by despair, by the finality of death, and the unbreakable hold of the grave. And then, on the other side, you have this brand new reality that this event kicks off, a world where hope is real, life is eternal, and death itself has been defeated. And here's the thing you've got to get. This story isn't just presented as some historical oddity. It's presented as this fundamental shift in the very fabric of reality itself, a change in what's even possible for us, for humanity. And that brings us to this one last really powerful idea. It's what takes this whole story and brings it right back to us, to you and me. The idea is that the empty tomb wasn't just an escape for him, it was an open door, a new possibility not just for one man, but for all of us. And that's a powerful concept that sits right at the very heart of this incredible story of victory over the grave.